to have 6 presentations in this session. I think this is the most awaited session. I think we do have very renowned presenters from different part of the world. Without any delay, I would like to proceed for the presentation. The first presenter is Dr. Rohan Bennett. He is chair of FIC Commission 7, that is Commission on Cadastry and Land Management. His tenure as chair of Commission 7 is starting from this year to 2026. He holds his PhD degree in land administration from University of Melbourne, Australia, and he also pursued his degree in geometric engineering and information system. He holds or has held roles with ITC faculty, University of Twente, and Swinburne University of Technology, Cast International, and the University of Melbourne, Center for STI and Land Administration. He has worked across many countries, contests across the Europe, Africa, and Asia. He is going to present on the role of peak surveying bodies on integration and decentralization of land use and land administration. Dr. Rohan, please proceed your presentation.
Okay, good afternoon. Good afternoon, and good to see you back for this afternoon. Last session, last day. Maybe I'll just stop using this microphone because it's all day. So it's a little bit when you go from loud to soft. Thank you, sir. Third time lucky. Okay, great. So I am very much, Mr. Chairperson, for the introduction. Very kind of you. I think this last is a real mix of presentations from all over the place in terms of country backgrounds, but also in terms of the perspective that we're taking on the greater theme of integration and decentralization. I'm actually standing here talking to you from the perspective of FIG, which is, for those who don't know, the International Federation of Surveyors, and I'm specifically talking to you from being the chairperson of Commission 7, which is on management and stuff. So, a very brief background. I think many of you in the room will know what FIG is, but for those who don't, FIG is really our premier organization representing surveyors. And it's a federation of member associations. So there's some 100 or so member associations, Dimo might correct me on that, who make up the organization. So it's more of a network organization. And it's really as surveyors, it's our peak forum for together on a global sense, advocating for the profession in the global discourse and for creating knowledge in countries, but also standards. So the FIG itself is made up of 10 commissions. That's where most of the work gets done. Dimo will talk to you later about another of the commissions, and I'm talking to you regarding Commission 7, which is on land management and cadastre. So, what is Commission 7? Commission 7, as I said, is on those topics, and it's historically the largest and most active commission in FIG, and that's really because a lot of the other commissions have other homes. For example, we have a commission on positioning and geodesy, but we know there's other bodies that take care of geodesy, for example. Whereas when it comes to cadastre and land administration functions, Commission 7 really is the peak body for doing that. And as we know, globally, in any given country, you'll always have plenty of land surveyors because they're tending to work at that parcel-based level. So Commission 7 for quite a few knowledge developments over the last years. Some of you might recall Commission 7's work around Cadastre 2014, which was a document that was translated into around 27 languages that was used back in the 90s to really drive cadastral reform in many countries. It's been closely linked to the developments around fit-for-purpose land administration over the last decade, and also the development of the international standard known as LADM, which is a data model for managing cadastral information. Why is FIG Commission 7 important, and why is it important when we come to this topic of integration and decentralization about this week? It's about building the global community. As we know, if we put many heads together, well, we might get a lot of debate and a lot of furious debate, but it tends to make a more rounded and complete solution. It enables us to share lessons between the countries. So the little example we've had these last few days with the excellent forum and hosting we've had from LMTC has enabled us to get lessons from Korea, from Indonesia, from Nepal, from the region more broadly. And FIG is a specialist at doing that. As I said, it creates knowledge in its own right. I mentioned some examples on the previous slide. And it also, in international forums and international agencies, it is the role of advocating for the surveyor's point of view and also the profession in itself. So we have recognition and roles in organizations like the UN GGIM. We've got some GLTN members involved in that forum, amongst others. So I'm the incoming chair around for 4 years at a time, and they have to have a work plan, and they should have a team around them, which is mostly volunteers, by the way, to work on several topics of interest that are useful for the domain. And so we're in the process of putting these work plans together, and they'll be finalized and signed off in the working week in Orlando in May. So FIG has an international conference. Sometimes it's called the Congress, which is every 4 years, and in between those it has working weeks, which is where around about 1,000 to 1,500 surveyors will get together in those 10 commissions and work on topics, discuss, advocate, and so on. So post-COVID-19, Commission 7 is really about renewing the focus of cadastre and land management at the global level. We've had a big of practitioners at that global level over the last decade, as many of the fathers and mothers of the domain, if you will, from the 1990s on and moved into retirement. So there's a need bringing the younger generation to be replenishing and recommitting to the domain. And the work plan is really much centered around issues that are global but have national impact. And those themes through that global context. You know, at the European and also elsewhere, just getting the focus. We also have scarcity and economic impacts of those when it comes to energy needs, climate change response, and so on. The prevalence of digital technologies, but also the governments that need to try and govern those. So issues of cybersecurity, data quality, so on, are really at the forefront of a lot of land agencies at the moment as they move to the digital era. How can they protect, secure, and maintain the data that they hold? The SDGs, industrial divide, remain big issues and big focal points, and also this issue of skill shortages. We've heard this week of the issues at the local level in Nepal, but we heard from how there's a population decline, and so on one hand, as populations rise, we have more and more work to do. It seems to be there's less and less capacity in our domain. So that's a focus. One thing on this slide, because I've already mentioned some of these, but these are some of the doing over the last 5 years, 4 to 5 years, or even longer, which it will. So, implementation of the voluntary guidelines, which were created in 2012 and renewed, is a commission. 20, the UN GGIM framework for effective land administration is endorsed by all member states, meaning we now have a globally recognized guidelines for doing and administration systems, and that will be a focus going forward in the next period. Which focus on some cheaper and more affordable, but still quality types of surveying and registration, particularly the use of image is gaining a lot of attention. I mentioned LADM, that was created in 2012 and is now being renewed to integrate things like land use planning and evaluation, environment, and understanding. 3D and digital twins, we saw some examples of that yesterday. That continues to be a focus area, and renewal and maintenance of systems. As we know, a lot of money and finance goes into building systems, digital systems, but less goes into ensuring a sustainable business model so that the data within those systems is kept up to date. So, the last 12 months we've been asking the Commission and its members and its friends to put forward their ideas on what the Commission will focus on in this next 4-year period. And we have arrived quite a substantial set of work packages that will be worked, and all of these are working group chairs. So these are all the people who will be working with over the next year. As I said, this is still in draft form. It needs to be endorsed in May at the working week by the FIG Council. As you can see, a lot of the topics here I've already mentioned, so we'll be working on how implementation of FALA looks at the national level. We'll be work on fit-for-purpose land administration in terms of more case studies and demonstrating the effectiveness of that in different jurisdictions. We'll continue looking at the land administration domain and that's movement into the and also you will notice, I'm going to get to this one shortly because it's very relevant to what we've been talking about this week. We have another group headed up by Millie place that female groups working on intelligence and its role in land administration alongside the use of imagery. A special group for women's land access that will be headed by Larissa Dallas of Mozambique. This group is a well-known one. I'll just go back and say who's Tony. This is a joint working group with another commission where we'll be working with Peter Ashburn. We'll continue that work. This is FFPLA is chaired by a young Nigerian surveyor who will be chairing that group, and the fellow is Velasco in Spain. That brings me to this interesting topic of integration of land use and land administration, and that topic was actually picked up in came forward as a topic also last year, and so where the working Ganesh was in contact for this event, but that same topic was already the for this particular forum. So it obviously shows there's great relevance and interest of that, and we'll be having a team by three: Claudine Asiaga, Walter de Vries, Claudia Stefan, multiple foods is out of Technical University of Munich. So my encouragement here is that someone in the group, Nepali representative, should really engage with that group. I guess the good thing post-COVID-19 is that being engaged IG doesn't necessarily mean you need to be able to attend every event. It's expensive and it's hard to travel around the world. Virtual meetings and communications going on in FIG now, which means it's far easier to stay engaged with what's going on, get to a particular event. So I'd really encourage delegates within the room to think about being involved here, and if there is interest, I know there is official delegates, but you can always be a friend of the Commission. We'd be more than happy to hear from you. The final groups are LA Education, which is a joint more about that. And I have to put a big question mark around this one. Another big knowledge product that the Commission has worked on over decades is the cadastral template. And there is now the Council a big effort to renew the data capture and dissemination of the cadastral templates. A little bit on hold because it's never been escalated to a higher level. I think we would all agree that have a single repository, integrated and perhaps decentralized repository of cadastral at the country level that enables us to more easily compare countries and understand what's going on to land and spatial information management. And with that, Mr. Chairperson, I would like to thank you for your time, and I'll just finish there. Am I with you? Good. That's great. Thank you.
Now we have Dr. Rudowski. Did I write the pronunciation? I don't know. He is a senior lecturer in land administration and he is senior lecturer in land administration and land governance and member of management team of the department of Indian Science and LMTC. Its portfolio holder education. He obtained his master's MSc degree in geospatial science and artificial from ITC in 2006, and he holds a PhD from the University of 2016. In 1992, he started his professional career with the Republic Geodetic Authority in the Republic of North Macedonia. Over the 19 years of his professional involvement since 1992 to 2011, in the agency for the state cadastral, he worked for 12 years on different and he worked with the Department of International Cooperation and European Integrations for the rest of that period. Since 2011, he won a PhD in 2016, and then he continues his lecturer and Master's Specialization Coordination of Geoinformation Management for Land Administration, GIMLA, till today. His research interest focuses on professional education, land administration, and land governance, and online administration in post-context as well. Demo is a chair of Fifth Commission Group. This Fifth Commission Group is especially concerns with professional education. His tenure as a chair of Fifth Commission 2 is starting from this year to till 2026. He is going to present about the professional education, current and future perspective that will support integration and decentralization of the manual and land management. Dr. Dimu, please proceed with the presentation.
Thank you, Chair. I'm proud good feeling to see some friends from time when I was studying, like Jimmy, Jana Crash, and Mr. Dango, many more. The title of my chair. So my presentation. Which is integration. parties started already to give basic image. If you see the domains that DPG is representing, you can see that there is surveying, there is cadastre, there is mapping, hydrology, but also spatial planning, land management. So all these topics are topics that DPG tries to and improve their implementation in practice. It is the mission. The idea is to ensure that the discipline of the surveying and all of those who practice them meet the needs of the market, communities that they serve, and their countries. If we do a good job, our mission will be accomplished. I hope this mic works better. Going further, as Ron said, FSG is organized in 10 commissions, and perhaps for this audience here, it's worth to mention Commission 2 is professional education, where all disciplines need education. And within the structure of the Commission 2, we have 4 working groups, and they are split with developing and strengthening academic networks, and it's for sharing knowledge. The second one is about innovation in education or innovations in curriculum development. The third one is joint group with young surveyors, and it's about learning styles and surveying education. And the fourth one is joint with Commission 7 with Ron, and it's about the education and land administration. But also there are other commissions like Commission 7, Cadastre and Land Management, Spatial Planning and Development. Not only these two, but all commissions members need education as good base ground or cornerstone for professional work and professional implementation. About Commission 2, the focus of Commission 2 is to innovative and efficient professional education and training for surveyors. The Commission is focusing on developing and strengthening academic networks, innovation in education, and advancing teaching methodologies. What is currently included here, it's also focusing on education in land administration. Also, within the text of our Commission 2, we include topics, and they are related to some of the working groups chairs. So in the new term, we will try to focus our work or our groups, and they are represented in the sessions for the conference in 2022 in Orlando. So the hot topics that are coming in education are ethics in professional education and research. What we see is more and more important in this new technology, where in new time with a lot of technology, and when all the students are with their microphones, so they are seeing the real world through their camera on the mobile phone. We are trying to be more student-centered education to help them not to look at the world via the camera of their mobile phone, but to leave it from time to time and spend quality time in their classrooms. And that can be achieved by using advanced teaching methodologies to activate students in the class in order they learn more during their class time than to spend time in their afternoon or free time. And the last point that we think is important is quality assurance of education, and to include more periodical evaluations for the quality and implementation. This second part is what and how education can say about the topic of this international workshop. So this was a model that we worked together with friends from Indonesia, from ITB, and it was suggestion to be a PhD topic because Indonesia was also doing integration of these two domains. So our justification for this, suggested to be a PhD research, was that if we integrate land use planning together with land administration, we can have centralized and integrated system and that can support these 3 sustainable development goals. So Sustainable Development Goal 1, 10-year security for all. Sustainable Development Goal 11, sustainable cities. Gender equity, Sustainable Development 5. But also, it's not mentioned here, Sustainable Development 4 for equality in education. This is one of the models that can be useful in your way of looking at integration, and if you have to justify it in your country to your ministers and higher. This is additional theory. It's needed that all actors are integrative governance. Actors, small, big, internal, external, we can call them users as well, are in system. Example from the Netherlands. Municipalities in the Netherlands are organized in their association, which is called VNG. It is very important to start with digital data sets that cover the full coverage of your country. So once the national government created solid databases of land administration and land use planning, they decentralized this to municipalities. But even today, even the urban planning is function of municipalities. They don't have urban planners in municipalities. They're outsourcing this work to professional organizations, and they are doing their urban plans based on tender documentation. This is example of how they replicate this model in other countries in the world. So I will leave this presentation with the organizer. And if you want to learn more about how international audience is accepting this program, please visit this website. Continuing, another example is our PGM department where I come from. And the mission of my department is to empower societies with specialized knowledge and expertise in spatial and temporal interactions between people, land tenure, land use, and urban systems, and the underlying governance processes to support inclusive planning and decision making. So this is one scientific department which is linking both urban planning and management and geoinformation management for land administration. So for the scientists in a group or academics, perhaps think about if you go towards integration and decentralization, maybe in your program you can have something like this. Our research team is something that is bridging both sides of urban planning and land administration. Urban team is called PLUS. We start from people, land, and urban systems. And the topics inside our research team are the following. Responsible land administration and land information modeling. So this is the first team that is dealing more with land administration, but there are some topics that are bridging together with urban planning. For example, the last one, community participation and government acceptance, and what is important is studies to show how our work has impact in well-being of people. Second topic is disaster risk reduction and climate change impact. And here my colleagues are working on the question, how can hazard and risk assessment be communicated to urban planners and other actors? It's nice in disaster resilience. The same agency in the group. Go and visit our research team for more. About cities, sustainable infrastructure, water and transportation are very important when you develop your city. So first start with good infrastructure and then build a city around. And then going further, we go to equity, human well-being, and localization privacy. Our last topic of our research team is innovative geoinformation, earth observation, and modeling. So there were some examples of theory, how can and what can be useful for case of Nepal. Another example is our PGM department, but also regarding content, we can always see the next prospects that were mentioned by some previous presenters even in this workshop. So the topics of 3D modeling, yes. So looking at the integration, this can be a starting point, or you can have it as endpoint. So topics like 3D and 4D property evaluation and modeling, also integrated 3D surface of underground and above. We heard yesterday that it is becoming a big issue in this country as well. Also 3D building reconstruction and using deep learning, which is quakes. And I also took these slides from Associate Professor Mila Cueva, which was mentioned by Ron before. But also this is important topic which can be very useful in the context of this workshop. So the starting point can be digital twin, and digital twin is a replica of the physical living environment to support decision making through seamless integration of sensors which are on the ground. So actually it's presenting the physical city to the virtual city. And it is actually all data around from the real world, sensors and platforms that are in the real world are sending and receiving from the system. Imageries can be used, LiDAR can be used, geoinformation extraction can be used, 3D cadastre information and models, other types of cloud computing. So this, you can see what we set it, develop planning, planning, and land administration. This can be your end goal. Dear Chair, dear participants, this was all that I had to say to you. If you want to hear more and read more about our specialization, there are some QR codes, and if you scan them, you can see possibilities of the master program and potential fellowships. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dimo, for your very comprehensive presentation. We have next presenter, Mr. Sudarshan Kargi. Mr. Kargi started his career in the survey department of Nepal in 2053 years. It is 57, around 57 years ahead of that 80. After he moved to Australia, he continued his work in the field of surveying profession in the state government of Queensland, Australia, in various roles such as topographic mapping, remote sensing, head of castle branch, and is currently the principal policy officer in the land administration and surveying services branch of Queensland government. He did his senior survey training course from this LMTC in 2050 to 2051 BS. Then he did his master's degree from ITC, the Netherlands. He continued his studies in Australia also, where he did his diploma of management from Queensland University. It is 4-year course. Next, he did a master's degree in spatial science from University of Southern Queensland. And currently he is undertaking PhD research in 3D chemistry. He is all of Nepali participants. He is very well known. topic of today is going to present an example subdivision of castle parcel in Brisbane. He is going to share the experience of Australia about the parcel subdivision. Please, Mr. Kargi, proceed your presentation.
Thank you. Oh, this is going to be difficult. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is a example subdivision of my parcel of land that I had in because of privacy issues. I couldn't share property. So where does this go? Okay. So this property is in a suburb called Holland Park in Queensland, Australia. So the covers says the surveying activities, the institutional legislative framework. I'd like people here that the sub here to just drop the Nepalese cadastre. Just going to talk about the Australian thing. So this a snapshot there. That's the old plan there. So there were 2 lots, and these became 3 lots. Took me a year and a half to complete this, and the subdivision cost me $65,000. The original value of the 2 lots were about 1.6 million Australian dollars, and after subdivision, it became about 3.5 mil. So that cost went into a lot of different infrastructure development. For council, there was stormwater management, sewerage connections, footpath widening through the corner block, the driveways for each lot, council rates and waste management, infrastructure development. For utilities, it was electricity connections, fiber optic broadband, water connection for each lot, gas main connection for each lot, and then for the department, it was the cadastral data update. And in Australia, if you are subdividing and creating a new plan, connect a couple of geodetic points for each plan that you create. So geodetic marks and titles, and obviously valuation data update, because that helps with the rates, and then financial data. Now the project steps. So initially what they do is you go and talk to a town planner or a surveying firm. They usually employ both of them. And then you engage a surveyor, you go and discuss your initial plan, cost you anything. Then you discuss the zoning plans and everything, and that's free as well. Then you create a detailed survey plan. That's the detailed survey plan with all the different so that costs you a little bit. Now the subdivision requirements for the council and the state, they've got two different requirements. One is from the state government, one is from the council. Council is the equivalent municipality here. So that is under Brisbane City Council. So state government planning and council planning schemes, and the state government has 4 plans, and the council has about 9 of them. Now these are based on Planning Act, which looks after the sustainable development, and then flora and fauna management, but it's not based on land use maps, right? So in Queensland, the land use maps, that's an example there. You got a link down there. Just have a look. So that's the Google Earth. That's the land use plan, and that's the legend for the land use map. So that's just a snapshot from the Queensland government website, what the land use plan's used for, and that is used for statewide resource management. It's not used for parcel level. Right? So this is not for subdivision the land use plans. So if state level planning, that's got 4 schedules. It's just, I'll just quickly go through the schedules here. So that's the 4 there. I'm not going to go through all the details on this one. The council planning assessment is done for the site itself, where you look at the location, you look at road frontages, whether there's enough space for ways, what this the site slope is, and there's requirement for site slopes, existing use and proposed use, what the surrounding is, and the vegetation. Vegetation is quite important because that affects koala, endangered species. So the next step they look at is the zoning assessment. So council zones based on this density. So it looks at whether you want high density in some areas, medium density, low density. If they want high density, they let you build high rises there. If you don't want density, then they have a minimum size requirement. Then they have neighborhood plans, and that's an example of a neighborhood plan. And these information are all available in the council website. And this is what a council website looks like. It's got all, there's a link down there for council, Brisbane City Council. The other thing they look at is a thing called subdivision code, and that has a comprehensive list of performance, which is called PO, and the acceptable outcomes, which is the AO, right? So these are the things they look for. There's 39 performance outcomes, and so that's an example of a performance outcome. They list the requirements there, and the acceptable outcomes, and the surveyor or the town planner has to put in what whether this complies or not. Then there's this small lot code that they check on, then the dwelling house code, and the 2 overlay codes, which are those things there. So after all of these, the town created a project plan, which is a 91-page report on and to do. So after that, there was a alternative subdivisions that they say, okay, are you happy with these kind of layouts? Then the council, they submit to the council. There's costs involved in every step. Then you engage a civil engineer, a hydrographic engineer, a electrical engineer. Then you create those plans. You talk to the neighbor about stormwater. Then you construct sewerage, footpath, driveway. And for me, that cost me $58,000. The water connection was $20,000, and there's other costs involved in gas, power, telephone connections. And then you get all the documents to the council. And after you receive a approval, they give you something called plan sealing, which you take to the department for registering the plan. And then your subdivision is approved, new tax created, and then there's other costs involved. One thing to know is different here is a subdivision does not trigger a sale. Right? Over here, if you're subdividing, you have to transfer it to a different name, but there, a subdivision, you can subdivide the, keep it in your. And this is what a survey plan looks like. A survey plan can have 2 lots, it can have hundreds of lots. Lot and plan together form the unique identifier, and there's a requirement to connect it to geodetic control map, and if it's more than 10 lots, then that has to be connected to a datum, which means it's a coarse network connection. Then every corner has to have a reference map, or it's got to have its corners marked, and it cancels a previous lot plan for a new subdivision. A cadastral surveyor that signs the plan, plus usually a 7-year experience, and they have to show a project portfolio and pass a board interview before they can be called a cadastral surveyor. This is an example of a reinstatement. So once the surveyor does a survey, they have to put in a report on the plan itself to say this is what they found and this is how they solved the issues. And if there's an encroachment, they put in a encroachment notice to all adjoining neighbors that are affected. And this is a flowchart of the various sections that are affected. And so it's just to give an example of how many staff are involved. So in the geodesy section there, there's 5 staff people for the entire state of Queensland. In policy, there's 5. In DCDB, there's about 20 people doing various tasks. So it's extremely streamlined in the sense that there's not many people that are involved, but they manage to do a lot of stuff done because of good networking and good way of doing it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Karki, for your very nice, informative presentation. Now we will have next presenter, Dr. Navaraj Subedi. Dr. Subedi completed his senior surveyor's course from this center. He did his professional masters in geomatics and MSc in geomanagement and land administration. PhD from University of Southern Queensland, Australia. Currently, he is working as a technical officer at School of Surveying and Built Environment, University of Southern Queensland. He is going to present on identification of land market impact factors in the context of the introduction of land use regulation in Nepal, stakeholders' perspective. Dr. Subedi, please proceed with the presentation.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to Mike. It will distract me, so I'll just go down. I'll try to keep my voice a bit louder so that you can clearly understand what I was getting.
होइन सर उता युट्युबमा जाँदैन हजुरले त्यो माइक भयो भने त्यो थ्रो मात्रै जान्छ आउट यहाँ चाहिँ सुनिन्छ उता फेरि जाँदैन
Before beginning my presentation, I would like to put some background that why I got interested in this research actually. While I was working as a chief of the National Land Use Project, we started with beginning our work with data modeling and putting things in software and applications, and then we had a meeting with Council of Secretaries, which is actually National Land Use Council, and then when we did our this so how we made it tomorrow, we're advised not to bring the product that is made in the public. Why? Because there is a fear that if we bring all those land zoning must be prepared through the National Land Use Project, probably it would bring conflict. Contradictory decision at that time, so we did not publish land zoning at that time because we were advised that probably people would feel punished, restricted on each other. And then when I was holding that position, some people coming about having curiosity, what would happen now? What would be about my particular land, agricultural land, whether they could continue to develop and sell in the market. So there's so many other issues. And then when we're in that adoption at the local level. Some people can even to so we found that definitely there can be some repercussions because of Chinese policy implementation. That triggered me to get into the business, and then we advocated to do business to measure the impact of the regulation on the land market. Now, when we first put this okay, so doing research, I felt is a really easy task. So I had to put context in a theoretical framework so that scientific community would accept it. That's why I think how can we measure the impact of the contribution in the land? We need certain indicators. We need certain theoretical things for that to go ahead. That's why we use two approaches. First, I define the impact as the indicators, and then measure the impact based on the indicators. Now, measuring impact based on those indicators, definitely I think I could actually have to interact with stakeholders. That's why the first thing was to have stakeholders' perspective on the impact of land regulation. The second one was to validate the result with documentary evidence. So it would be a big cases. So I'm not going to present all those things. I only now concentrate on the all those indicators and impact factors based on the speaker's perspective. So these are the research videos, and the component that I'm going to present you just a small part of this survey. I mean, the interview is the questionnaire. I will not get anything about the questionnaire survey this time, only about the interview. Everybody knows the subject. Land is shelter, and land is also used for food for earnings. Yeah, land is there for kindness value, so land is used for commodity in the market. Simple things, everyone has felt it, we're discussing all these things today. So now, next. So, when land has value and land is a commodity in the market, then there is a cycle how it is transacted over the market. There are financial institutions that enter the market, there are institutions, there are owners, and land is a commodity, there's capital, so many things arise in the market. Now, what's the topic of this seminar workshop? Land used in land is already, I mean, it is a component. Land use is a component land administration. Now, when we go to the land market, there are three pillars in the land market. There's registry, there's financial institution, and land valuation system. And more importantly, is participant. So if we ignore participant, it can't assist land market. That's why it's very important to have the feelings, experience, and view of the stakeholders of what actually they tell about the damage when we implement some regulation or the impact of land regulation on land market. That's why we persist ahead. Now, when we go to the actual scenario on the ground, we found land has been used. Some of the land settlement within the airport area, some settlements in the land, agricultural land being divided into different uses. Similarly, big plains within the settlement area, unused land, misused land, so many uses are there. Now, when government all these activities on land, misuse, overuse, and definitely create some intervention to control all these misuse. Now, when government, in this context, there are a lot of interventions. There's the Damage Act, already discussed, Civil Governance Act, Land Survey Act, Land Revenue Act, and land policy, so many interventions are there. When government actually introduce new restriction in 2017, based on that, we started our process to ask people aware that the impact that they will have some important indicators which we could measure the impact of the resolution. So, land use regulation produces impact. Who measures? Who should the impact? Of course, there's impact on the business process, of course. There's impact on land agriculture, so many. No, we have to ask this thing. Of course. And then, what are the impact factors? After finding the impact factors, what is the method? How is the impact across given dimension? When land use regulation is brought or imposed or implemented in that situation, we cannot think only economic dimension. There can be impact across multiple dimensions. Or the impact across these different dimensions is equal or they are different for the issue. That's why all those things have to be addressed in the research. So I took the study as a conforming area because it is part of Nepal administratively where all economic opportunities businesses completely low as compared to other parts of the country. That's why we selected Plenary. Then we identified the stakeholders. We divided in groups of private, institutional, and bank. We took interviews and then we transcribed the interview data, then that into QDA minus software. That software was to find the link between the issues. This is just a glitch of the software which helps us to put the transcribed version of the interview and then finding recording co-occurrences, similarities. Based on that, we think about different clusters of people's perception, people's perspective. So, across the community dimension, we have 5 clusters, which is mostly about taxation, taxation, land use regulation, big changes in taxation. Similarly, there is problem in the mortgage availability. They say that when land use regulation has an import, especially from the restriction, there are changes in the mortgage availability. They were reluctant to provide credit to the people, landowners. Here there is a problem in problem of compensation. There will change in valuation as well. So there are 5 more clusters we identified, 5 different clusters identified, and then also the size of this curve, you can see, is proportional to the number of people responding to that particular issue. Similarly, the social dimension, very interesting and alarming as well, because this said that because of this restriction problem, there is conflict within the household. There is more diversity, divorce cases, there is more family disintegrations. It's a very alarming conflict. And similarly, there were some social expectations were not met, and because of other regulations, so 3 different clusters identified. Similarly, in environmental dimension, we found different 3 clusters, like there is more about land for non-agricultural purposes is not sufficient. Similarly, there is quality of residential land used enhanced. There is positive feedback as well that land develop help to environment will impact the development. Maybe the level of the impact of different levels very few, but they could be. Similarly, there is across district dimension, they say the availability of land and the accessibility to land was decreased because of restriction. And there are other issues about coordination. For example, in case of implementation of expansion of apps, there is expansion, mine expansion, design and expansion not shared with the external branches or offices. So there are some issues there, and that also goes to risks on the secretary of the municipality as well. So there is some problem as well because of the international restriction. So based on these clusters, we then analyze, we just have to converge to anything out of those clusters. So the impact issues derived from those codes like transaction features, time taken for transaction audit. We think that we need to road expansion but we because when I was going to be process, I also found some data that survey officer writing to KBTA to fix to decide the with the so they have to wait for a long time, sometimes 3 weeks sometimes so sometimes also how to increase because of some regulation restrictions. That is one part. In other words, there is no compensation. People are asking for compensation. When road is expanded, people didn't get compensation. That is the one major issue going on in the street. People were just shouting and protesting, not allowing you to expand the road. Similarly, we found that taxation changed. The rate of tax was not changed. Because of overall government limited revenue. Why? Because land value increased. Our tax rate didn't change because of something. But we found that the imposition of land regulation, particularly something restriction, did not change the tax rate, but there was increase in revenue. How? Because land value increased. And the land value increases because of fixed rate, the total price will increase. That is what we know. But the rate of tax didn't change at all. There are changes in the mode of availability. So all these 5 key messages have impacted the dimension. On social dimension, we can people were not aware of something. It came just out of the blue. Okay? Because when even the software department was not, I had to do with education department and found out they were not known. It just came out of the blue. Nobody had known about that. Government was taking this civil restriction. So it was there is no awareness, even at the public level, there was no awareness, and because of that, there is a lot of conflict in the market when the people who have taken advance money to sell because there is restriction in the market, the conflict arose, and that similarly there is some issues on the flexibility. Like when you impose the regulation or bring regulation, people will have to sit on the existing settlement like disaster, landslide, risk, or flood risks. So when you bring this regulation and you are advised to shift or to transfer from the existing settlement, where do you want to sit them? Do you want to sit them at a long distance, 15 miles away or out of the districts? They want to be confined, they want to stay as near as possible from the existing settlement. So proximity is very, very important. In the case of governments, it would shift in terms of the biography corridor. That is one we identified. In our dimension, we found that the quality of result increased, especially when the development plan is executed or executed. Areas where there is no zoning at all, the haphazard settlement continues to increase. Similarly, suitability zoning classification did not address the land requirement. Yes, we have discussed this morning that even if we had zoning, but did we actually think about the how much land is required for the change supply of the land because especially the Plenary corridor or back in the corridor there is some projects going on to address these core issues. That's right. Especially talking about we didn't have that much problem of landslide before, but all those aspects along this river corridors, especially river corridors. That's the positive message. International, people said that there is poor political coordination among agencies, and that was risks in land ownership right, which is institutional case. Similarly, there was certain restriction affect the availability of land and access it because people could not sell their land, and people who were wanting to buy the land couldn't buy the land. So that is the problem. And what size effect? There is compared to the development of market, three different named on time, and then it is said that no parcel can be parcel having areas less than 8 ana cannot be subdivided. Because if you have just 10 ana of land, you cannot be into 5 ana because it really create problem to people who actually intend to sell their product in the market, their land in the market. So that also was related to the land size, land rights. And then when we compare all these key things like coordination, land size restriction, availability, all those 14 indicators, were in commonality with the factors that we identified today. You can read this one, but this is only to give you a message that we try to compare those findings with the electorate assessment. With the interview, we're not sure whether they also agree with the existing literature. When we went through different literatures, we found that all these 14 dimensions, indicators that we found through interview, were in commonality with the indicators that we found through literature. So there is some overlaps. So the conclusion is, land market experts perceive that land regulation in Nepal has had an impact on the liquid land market. Economically, the political dimension of the social the land operates institutional dimension. But both dimensions we found to have affected because of the regulation. 14 land market impact factors associated with the land regulation were identified. Across economic dimensions, we found transition cost, regulation, mortgage availability, taxation, and compensation with the issues. Across institutional dimension, lot size, sovereign restrictions, and coordination with the three factors identified. Across social dimension, awareness, expectation, and proximity were identified. And environmental dimension, tax reduction, quality of the land, and spatial zone classification were identified. This zone classification is very important to us because we have 11 zones identified by law. We have 12 zones identified in land use plan. But if we just forget to have within decision made today, then site legislation is based on the map, the law of 1964. The 3 categories of land. That's why our restriction went based on principle map, but why we have already had there is the classification that is actually done in the field of this policy explanation. That's why there is a problem in the market. Perspective-based impact factors in community with those pointed out by literature therefore suggest their applicability in holistic assessment of land market across multiple dimensions of course. We can't claim that because people said that that's why it's true. We said that people say this when this is in community with existing literature, that's why we can recognize this one. Next, the multiplicity of the impact factors of different dimensions is the only four economic dimension. Market is cannot be complete. We can't see through this single vertical lens, but we need to have multiplicity of law and policies of self theories and market because of financial regulation. So the question is,
factors is not taken. Yes, you use those factors in the impact measurement process. We have to quantify the impact, actually. How much impact of this economic dimension? How much impact of the social dimension? Which is heavier? Which is more dense? Is economic is more severe than the social one? Or is environmental is better than this? We have to do that. We need to compare across those dimensions. And then does the calculated impact measures complements the current situation? Because based on interview, based on business survey, we come up with certain results. Does that result at least the actual situation? Or part of the study, which I have already done in my research, but this presentation was only about the impact factors, how we came out to identify those impact factors. That's what I anticipated. Thank you.
Has 23 years of experience in surveying and mapping. He has more than 10 published articles. He received his Masters of Technology in GIS from Andhra University. 14. He did his postgraduate diploma in demonstration of GIS from Center for Space Service, Space Science and Technology Education in Asia and the Pacific in 2012. He did his Masters in Geography from Union University in 2011. He is also the alumni of this center. He did his senior survey course from this center in 2006. He is going to present about the approach of evaluation for the formulation of reality plan. Mr. Khan, please proceed your presentation.
Land evaluation techniques. In morning session, most of municipality has prepared most 150 in only one municipality has prepared a spatial plan for land use theory. And the actual parcels there are incorporated. Each parcels there. Zone has incorporated parcels by only in that municipality. So I here speak I present how to prepare land use plan using land use technique in the integrated plan. So issues is land use is dynamic. It is upper structural, socio-economical, and utility social proven in time and space. Also, demand of land use is increased among land use context by different interest groups of land use allocations for sustainable land developments. In Nepal, land use has changed by unplanned organization, land fragmentations that necessitate reducing the arable agricultural land for food security. So, land development is best used for design a progressive land security model to elevate that land use theory. Population increase also pushes on the agricultural land for allocation of agricultural land for most increasing of food social benefits for food security. It also impacts on natural disaster and climate change. Land use change monitoring activities is challenging task for land to land use development and also land dynamics is related to society development activities in the names that place land use conflict among interest groups. In Nepal, for 20 years, land has increased in build-up by declaring agricultural land in few decades, mainly in our region and Pakistan valleys. Also, fragmentation size of land is also increased in 2001, 0.79 hectare average holding size gradually decreased to 0.68 in 2011. So, my work is to attempt land utilization for land use planning to sustainable land management in Samunang municipality as case studies. In this study, we analyzed the socio-technical land use changes since 1986 to 2017. In that period, I will especially change detection to determine the influencing factor for how land use changes are occurred and what are the causes of the land use changes. Based on the causes of ranking apparatus developed and used in the land security model to determine the specific use for allocation of the land use in the methodological framework design to allocate the optimal land use planning and then suggest stage implementation study for land use implementation. This work provides knowledge to all aspects of model which will be applied for development of optimal land use plan, demonstrate suitability analysis to identify potential site of specific land use with alternative options. Land evaluation methodology and process could be applied to compare potential land use with listening characteristics of land, incorporating developing infrastructures and cost and effectiveness. Implementing strategies is developed based on the ground reality in a rational manner to control development activities and land fragmentation. My research also framework is based on the existing systems lease and lies to existing land use, physical, social, economic, and environmental. And then political situations will develop by incorporating knowledge, technical interface, stakeholder interaction, and global influences. And the theoretical situations like the process of the physical data for the future for the land use, but it should not be implemented without optimized. So I will implement what projected dimension model, mathematical model to make optimized to implementation for making legally acceptable, economical level, technical feasible, and implementable ground reality. So I will collect data, separate image for preparation of land use data, and previous maps are for land utilization map 1986, topograph map 1996, and field observations are conducted. Key information interface collected for identifications of the factors, and focus group missions are conducted for priority factors and ranking the weight and rate. Based on land use maps 1986, 1996, and 2017, land use pattern are analyzed and determine the driving factors. What are the positive factors in the land use changes? Based on the factors, categorized criteria used in the multi-capability modeling or spatial modeling to determine these factors are prioritized of rankings in user easing, NLP hierarchy process, and multi-criteria analysis is used for land suitability analysis, and conditional land use maps are generated, and these all conditional land use maps are integrated using similar automata for the future land use scenarios, and these simulation maps are integrated physical infrastructures. Physical infrastructures are designed based on the need assessment and planning guidelines developed, and based on the planning guidelines and constraints are configured, and the infrastructure plans are developed, and plans are incorporated in the simulation land use plan as an integrated land use plans. And integrated land use plans are collectively evaluated in the grounds by sort analysis, the optimal land use plans, based on the optimal land use plans, and suggest and implement a strategy in terms of overlay of the cash maps, construction permits guidelines, development guidelines, and monitoring mechanisms as a implementation. My study area is Sambuna property in supply districts. In 1986, agricultural lands are in Samuna is covered by about 44%, whereas that is 42%. And that time residential land is only about 0.32%. And equity and gradually increased in 1996, residential land to 0.84 and agricultural land reduced 54%. And in 2017, agricultural land reduced to 52%. Residential land increased to about 2% gradually. That year, mostly residential activities are increased in the study area. This changes as a maintenance. Most agricultural land is typically changes in 1986 to 2017. 15% agricultural land is decreased, whereas residential land increased by about 159%. Public use land is also increased 170%. Commercial land increased about 40%, and in terms of percentage, high 7,770 lands. So, in this study area, agricultural lands are decreased in high rates. Forest land also is decreased. Residential land are increased in high rates, and public lands mostly road networks are increased. The special distributions of land areas are shown here. So, initially, 1986, very little in settlement areas, and in 2070s increased rapidly, and road networks are also being increased. Also, in terms of concentrations, also the increase. Built-up area is concentration rate is 0.64, 0.14 in 1986. In 1960 0.24, but in 2017, concentration rate is increased to 0.45. So, concentration of this process are also scattered in previously, but concentrations at present is increased rapidly. All the third is determined using gas modeling for a period of 50 years. This access, most of the lands are also covered. Also, soil erosion is less, and then most of the soil erosion are occurs in the blue bands or surrounding the river bands. Most of the landslide rivers are put off the story hills, and remaining parts are placed in hills. High risks are analyzed, and then high risk maps are mostly occurs along the road networks, mainly along the highway, east-west highway. So, and category maps are being determined in terms of maps used in the supply suitability analysis. Morphology map, geology map, slope map, population density map, soil map, land capital map. These maps are used for land suitability for each land suitability analysis. And agricultural suitability maps are prepared, and agricultural suitability is found only about 29% in the municipalities. Similarly, residence map, suitability map are prepared and shows high portion lands are only for the suitable residential lands in these municipalities. Similarly, commercial suitability maps are prepared and 16% lands are found suitable for the commercial activities in the municipalities. Industrial suitability map also prepared, and only 1% land are suitable for the industry. And these all maps are integrated. Forest maps are also related, and suitable lands are about 30. Lead assessment are conducted for infrastructure development plan. In terms of population entry level course, gas facility, industry, together, road network, electricity networks, water supply networks, wastewater and sewage networks, social infrastructure such as health services, education schools, campus, export and retail practices at park, playgrounds, etc., security services of police stations, army stations, and public buildings and government officials buildings are considered. And then, this, based on the need assessment, we define planning guidelines. Planning guidelines are defined based on the physical development plans that different norms and external norms are prepared and compare with the physical development new DBCs in 2013. And then, based on the guidelines, need assessments of the local people's needs and practice to be planned, allocated to the plan, and so on. This common university in this class, agriculture was proposed at 1.25 kilometers, local roads 41 kilometers, others 109 kilometers, 11 business allocated. One bus that having 2 hectares, water supply slice to be 36 kilometers, sewage and surface drainage network is 136 kilometers, utilities roads is 15 kilometers, landfill size of 2 having 10 hectares, electricity networks are proposed 32 kilometers, and telecommunication network are proposed 17.5 kilometers, one exchange. Then, that is the period for 20 years of one year plans, 2,000 students, and these plans are integrated in physical development of the public sector progress and needs of the local peoples. Those are analyzed, and then prepared those are analyzed with qualitatively analyzed what analysis is the strength and weakness, opportunity and threat, utilizing the strength and opportunity, and reducing weakness and threat, analyze the land use plan, and this land use plan are prepared, and in the Samunas municipality, agricultural lands are allocated 47% land, forest lands are 40%, residential lands are 4%, public lands are about 6%. Likewise, individual state developed model is optimal land use plan are overlaid with the national plan, substances from the development plan. Shipping portion are developed, building costs are developed, development progress are developed, and cultivation are developed. In the first way, we can put land uses are conducted in the put out to the hills surrounding to existing settlements and along the transportation routes. Developing this map is suitably set for special land use and applicable in developing practice and decision-making process of land use planning to develop land use conflict. To develop land use planning technical and level, especially as the compatible by the development planning process and the local again, land use planning are the instance of hydrogen and social planning process and it is used as a plan for developing basic plan for land development. Thank you. Thank you very much. She has more than 8 years of experience in the academia. She served as a board co-chair from 2015 to 2018 for the working group of Chief Commission 2. She is an active member of Women Scientists Forum Nepal. She coordinated in organizing the international conference of UFO versus Forge in this year, 2021. She has a lot of professional experience on
many projects related to the application of reinforcement technology. Recently, she supervised a project exploring the application of OpenStreetMap in mitigating climate change effects through the rooftop farming. She is working with a team of health professionals as well to open up direction of land planning with public health perspective. She is also stepping into the gender mainstream from academic perspective. She has published a number of publications including ISI Index Journal, peer-reviewed book chapters, and conference proceedings. She is going to present on land use planning and well-being, looking from the perspective of peacemaking or healthy cities. Dr. Reshma, please proceed your presentation.
Thank you, sir. I have 10 minutes only, but that information from the organizers, so I will rush. So first, let me start with my title quickly. I will speak about the integration. So for me, integration is land use planning and administration, and somewhere with the health. That is what I will say my integration here, with the aligning with the workshop theme. So land use planning, I want to read it all, but if we see about, because I'm the last presenter, so many things already came out. What is land use planning is about iterative process, diverse, inclusive, and also it is how to take local knowledge and legally binding plan. So this is what I got from DTD of 1995. And also it's a visionary and special oriented and most important. So this is all about the land use planning and the various dimensions of thinking. And when we talk about land use planning, now I'm going to step into the health, because we are not here the health professionals as such, but when we talk about the health, WHO mentioned it's about not only absence of disease, but a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. So WHO also estimates this figure suicide. So if we talk about this, government estimates that 20% of the global disease burden and 22% of birth due to environmental health factors. So this also primary source of environmental factors contributing, and also environmental factors when we talk about, it talks about the air pollution, noise pollution, hearing loss, and etc. So environmental risk factors actually also brings the inequity in the cities. So like there are some studies, higher level of pollutants are usually linked with water deprivation, high noise exposure improves the noise, socio-economic, less daily space available in the socio-economic pipeline. So this is what it also brings the injustice and environmental injustice. So why integration with land use planning and health? That is a very important question. So something is in the literature from that land use planning can reduce inequalities and access to housing facilities and also for different socio-economic groups and vulnerable populations such as elderly or children, increase the amount of incidents of physical activities necessary to reduce the burden of disease, disability, and mortality due to sanitary lifestyles like improving access and building walkable, mixed-use community, and also contribute to improve the health of the population by reduction air, water, pollution, and greenhouse emissions, combating the threat of climate change, and contribute to change of the social environment by improving livelihood streets, making them safer, improving communication between people, thereby improving the community cohesion. This is what it is important, it's different angle to think So this is one of the very important. It's not my paper, but I'm very much triggered with this paper, land use planning and health and well-being. What this paper talks about is like there is a settlement health map, and it is integrated with how this planning can actually contribute. So if you see about there's a people, lifestyle, community, local community activities built in national and global environment. These are the many more parameters actually in the health. So if we think as only in the small community individually health matters now, it is actually a bigger picture to be considered. So if we talk about the considering the land use planning, this paper must try to connect this with the land use plan actually. So lifestyle and physical activity, it is actually connected with the active travel, recreation, and emphasis on the neighborhood planning level. So lifestyle is connected with the retailing and local food production, healthy food, and community it is connected to mental well-being, local social network is important, and also neighborhood planning is also important. So local economy and similarly this natural environment is also important, like air pollution, air pollution, transport and urban crime, and also global ecosystem is also connected to the climate change. So land use and mitigation about the climate change effect as well. This is how it is connected with the land use and health by this paper. So having this figure from this paper, we also thought of what is actually is there. But we haven't to go directly to the land use planning. This paper we have produced in this environment and health and public health and this is where we have collaboration with the various universities and measuring environmental justice in real time or pilot study using digital participating method and global south Nepal. We have the collaboration with the yes. We have University of Bremen, and also we have collaboration with this medical hospital, which they are working doctors with the public health domain, and myself from the Department of Geomatics Engineering, and there are two from the public health environment. So with this geoinformation and from not directly land, but indirectly we are planning to connect with the land in the location. So we have published this paper, and this is just a small. The objective of this paper of this actually to adopt one of the digitally participating methods to understand the perception of the participants, like how they perceive the environment injustice actually. And this is just a prototype model here. So this is some of the research design. I won't be going through this one. Actually, in this our geomatics engineering students are the participants, and also from the this public health, they are the participants. Actually, what they did is they have given some devices and they have to measure their environmental exposure daily. And it takes from 28 days. They have to send a message that whenever they feel some type of environmental burdens, environmental exposure. So when we see that air pollution, air and environment pollution are pursued by all because there are 22 participants. And there are air pollutions and environment pollutions and also connected with this database between the road that has been perceived by all the participants, whereas good traffic, because these are all the actually the factors that actually gives the environmental injustice and connected with the health somewhere. So this environmental pollution and noise is also like relatively higher frequency exposure reported for noise due to road traffic because always there are the road traffic and lots of roads are here and all the buses even morning and evening there are lots of traffic and this noise and stress reported by all participants as well and the frequency of participants is also very high. So with this we can say they have sent some photograph of the area during the time of the full exposure quickly and you can see there's lots of garbage in the road and traffic, and these are all what they have filmed and taken the photos. So now, this is one of the aspects that is triggered and it is connected with the health ministry. Then another is we are working on is this is also one of the paper, but this is not our paper. It says that urban water farming as an example of nature-based solution. So it's like some more, we talk about the space, horizontal space, but it already came up about the space underneath and above. We also, it is very important to the space under the rooftop, and that is also a kind of the land use planning. And not directly, but it is a vertical land use planning, how it can be integrated and how buildings can be designed, building miners can be designed to have this type of rooftop planning aspect. That's also one, and it is connected with the health activity. And this paper clearly shows that it is connected with the health indirectly as to mental well-being. So this is one of the projects that our students has and we have to supervise. This is mapping Manipur municipality and application. So this is actually mapping the rooftop farming in the Manipur municipality. And they have got some funding from Mr. Grant, and it is open state mapping and this has been made. I'm not going to the methodology, but I'm just predicting how it is predicted. This is our theme. And it says that in that that rooftop farming is already there, and the number of houses suitable for rooftop farming is 684, and something like estimated rooftop farming is 0.487 square kilometer. This is what the general UAV has been flowed away, and thinking and mapping and voluntary TIs has been applied. So this is the methodology, and it can about there is some rooftop farming is going on in that area. So this is quickly, but the objective of this project is just a mapping, but I want to connect that this type of approach is actually need to be integrated with the land use planning if it help from the broader perspective of mental well-being. Like it shows that rooftop farming is actually the mental well-being perspective that makes people mentally feel better, and also like having this type of engagement, and also we already said that local food production, healthy food is also important factors connected with the health. So it is also somewhere connected to the planning in the vertical planning, I would say. And this is the fully complete, and somewhere this is mapping just the claims. Now I would like to bring this. This is not my slide, but I got this slide from the Little municipality. Actually, they are working in the concept of a healthy city. And this is the concept. This is not my slide. I have just asked them and gave permission to show this slide to me. So this is what, and also if we see that the land use plan, and there are also number of parks, and 60 parks already the municipality is making. So this park is more for what? It is a planning for somewhere for mental well-being and physical activity for the people. So these are also one of the aspects approaching for the healthy city, and they also have guidelines for healthy city. This is Nepali. This I have just posting that they have the guideline of making healthy city. So if we talk about these are their mission, like to make the city as clean, child-friendly, driver-friendly, and also like increase access, still quality of health, equitable health services. Now these are all related to the health, that by the health. But when I inquired in somewhere, and I had found somewhere because I was in this part, let me just okay, let me give you this one. They have also started collecting the health data and with the geolocations. That is already there. Preliminary data has collected, and in this collection, we do have some input as well. We have tried to make some planning aspect questions as well. So it is a location-based health data. They have been making health information provide. That is their initiation. But these are some meetings. But now the point is our mission to make. If we say that working areas for healthy city, they talk about people with disability. So if we think about people with disability, we need to have the area as well, like to facilitate, to promote the people. Of course, we can have some health matters to help the people in this aspect. But if they are there, this mobility and everything, they have to look for. And for that, land use planning is very important to be considered. And they are thinking of control smoking and alcohol. They are trying to make free alcohol and smoking zone. That is also a part of the planning, actually, I would say. Because if they want to plan the city in this part, they have to make plan that which area they are making smoking and non-smoking zone. That's it. I'm just talking from anywhere, but from that slide, I'm just making the argument. And increased physical activities. That is, of course, increased physical activities means how they will make physical activities. They need to have some park and anything to make their active lifestyle. And these are what accident control, proper road planning must be there. So this is all connected to the land planning from my perspective. So with this, so now how my title is Place Making for Land Use Planning. Now I'm coming to my title connected. So how this, one of the approaches to how this local municipality can be on the city, connecting, making, place making perspective for the people, by the people to the people. And one last message is we talk about the land use planning from the training tone in our perspective. But with this platform, while attending this platform, the various speakers have already mentioned, and I'm very triggered with one thought is that land use planning can be the 10 categories in the national level. But when we talk with the decentralization of land use planning, then it is not only about the 10 categories, it should be many more categories that land use planning needs to be integrated. This is what I learned from this platform, and this is how I would say integration and decentralization from my perspective.
We don't have much time. Our chief guest is in very busy schedule. So, before that, we have some certificate.
Dr. Rohan Dene. Timur. Mr. Sudarshan. Mr. Vikas Kumar Karna. Dr. S. Masters.
Thank you, everyone. We will have a short 5-minute wireless tea break, then we proceed to closing ceremony. Our chief guest is already here, so see you back in 5 minutes. Thank you.